Okay, students, now I am continuing with today's session. Okay, we have seen the different form elements for different form components. Okay, yesterday. Today we will be understanding input restrictions onto those form components. What all restrictions can be imposed? Like for example, if in a text box I want only date of birth to be typed, I don't want anything else to be typed. Okay, if he types ABC, then it should not be accepted. So this is called the restriction. Okay, I am restricting user to type something into a text box. Okay, and whatever is been typed, I validate it. Validate means checking. I check for the correctness of the data that is been typed into the input form, into the text box or into the form component. Hence, we have HTML5 have introduced input restriction attributes. Okay, so these attributes will be looking at one by one along with the example. Okay, some common input restrictions which can be used for validation purpose. Now we are going to understand one by one. First, disabled. Disabled means you want that text box, you want that form component to be displayed, but you want that user cannot type anything into it. Okay, so it is disabled for typing. It is disabled for using. Specifies that an input field should be disabled. Okay, means the input field will be displayed, but you are not able to type anything into that input field, nor you will be able to click onto it. Let us see the output. An example. My Internet Explorer is getting open. You see, first text box is without disabled. Okay, that means I am able to type. Okay, here in below I have another text box. If you see over here, I am not able to click onto it, nor I am able to type over here. Okay, this is a text box without disable attribute. I am able to type. If you see, I am typing over here, and with another text box is displayed over here below, where if I click and if I start typing, I am not able to type. Okay, why? Because this text box is disabled. I'll show you the code, all of you. See the code, not visible. Wait, I'll show you again. Now it is visible. Now you can see the code, right? Now can you see the output? This is a text box which is not disabled. That means I am able to type over here. You see, I am typing. Can you see I am typing? Yes? Yes. And then below there is another text box over here which is with disabled attribute. That means if I click over here, I am not able to click, nor I am able to type over here. Okay, for this code is something like this. You see over here, input type equal email, and I have not written disabled attribute. Make a note over here. And over here, input type equals email, and I have written disabled attribute. See the difference in this and difference in this. You will notice over here, key, I have written the disabled. Okay, make a note all of you. all of you, you should have a pen and paper so that you can scribble out fast. Got the difference? Input type equals email, input type equals email. Here I have written disabled, whereas here I have not written disabled. That is why I am able to type in first text box and I am not able to type in a second text box. Let's go back to the slides. Okay, that was disabled attribute. Okay, next attribute, max. Okay, max and min specifies the maximum value for input field and min specifies the minimum value for input field. Max and min, a minimum value what you can type into an input field, you can specify with max and min attribute. Okay, I'll show you the output. You see, use of max and min attribute over here. Okay, without max min attribute, I can type whatever numbers I want to type. Okay, whichever number will, higher number, lower number, negative numbers can be accepted. Here, I have specified some min and max attribute. Okay, it doesn't go below 1. That means 1 I have specified as minimum value. Here, you see, I can go below 0. That means I can go to the negative values. So here I have specified some value as a minimum value, and if I click up, okay, I have my maximum value as 10. Even if I click on the arrow, even if I type a higher number above, it won't be accepted. If I click on submit, this will give me an error. See, I type 11, I click on submit, this is say value must be less than or equal to 10. It gives me an error over here. It is not accepting this 11. If I type 10, it will accept because I have given max value as 10. Let us see the code for this. You will notice over here, input type equals number. I have not specified min and max attribute. Over here, min and max attribute is not specified. Whereas over here, in this part, you will notice I have specified max equals 10 and min equals 1. That means minimum value 1, maximum value equals 10. So whatever values you want to type, okay, that values can be restricted to minimum and maximum values with the help of min and max attribute of the number input type, Okay, let's go back to the slides. Next, pattern. Pattern specifies a regular expression to check the input value. It is very important, student. Pattern. Okay, you have to write how the patterns are to be written. Okay, I'll show you. Specify, what does it do? It specifies a regular expression. It is an expression. This is the way I want to type. Okay, if you remember your seat number in your S.S.C. exam, there was some pattern to it. That means first character was M or E. It was a character, and then after that there were some 6 numbers. So it had some pattern to it. Our telephone number or a mobile number, always our mobile number is of 10 digits. Okay, country code includes plus and 91. 91 is a code for India. So plus and 2 digits. So this is called a pattern. There is some way, there is some format into which you have to type into the text box. Okay, I'll show you the different patterns. Okay, the pattern attribute works with the following input types. Make a note, pattern attribute only works with text, date, search, URL, tell, email, and password. Text, date, search, URL, tell, email, and password. Okay, it works only with these input types. Okay, let us see an example. You see, if you write this, make a note, all of you, you have to make a note of this. If I write pattern equals this, that means square bracket, capital A dash capital Z, immediately small a dash small z, I close the square bracket, then curly bracket 3 and close the curly bracket. This means whether small or capital, 3 letters can only be typed. 3 characters only can be typed. Let us see another pattern. Dot, curly bracket 6, comma, curly bracket. 6 or more characters. That means you cannot type more than 6 characters or digits. 6 or more. You see 6 and comma. 6 and comma means you can only type 6 or more characters. Another pattern. You see, this is a pattern I have made for at least one number, one uppercase, one lowercase, and at least 8 or more digits. This means 6 or more. Here you will see at last I have written similar to this. That means 8 or more characters. What 8 or more characters? You see /d for digit. Okay, at least one digit it should have. Then A to Z, at least one small letters alphabet. And then A to Z in capital, at least one capital A to Z should have. Okay, to whatever I type, that should contain at least one digit, at least one small letter, at least one capital letter, and it should be of more than 8 characters. So this is a pattern. Make a note of this. Question mark equal to dot asterisk /d for digits. That is at least one number. Make a note of this. Then again another pattern for email. There should be @ there should be dot. Okay, you see I have written @ over here. There should be dot over here. So combination of @ dot makes up your email. So this is for pattern for email. Make a note, all of you, very important from examination point of view. Take a screenshot. Going back. Okay, let us see an example now. You see, I have written a pattern for country code, I have written a pattern for password and email. I will show you the code for this. Let us understand the pattern for country code. Okay, here you see input type equal text and pattern equals this. That means I should be able to type capital or small 3 characters. Digits it should not take. Okay, see I am typing now. Okay, and I click on submit. It gives me an error over here. Please match the requested format. 3-letter country code. That means if I type only 3 letters, Okay, suppose say IND for India. I say submit, it is taking. No, it is not giving me an error, if you note. Okay, that is for country code. Next, you see input type equal password, pattern I have written 6 characters. Okay, more than 6. Okay, if I type less than 6, I type only 3 or 4. I click on submit, it gives me an error. 6 or more characters should be typed. Hence, I have to type, if I type more than 6, no error. It has accepted. Okay, similarly, I have made a pattern for another password which speaks on at least one digit should be there, at least one character should be there. This is a pattern. Then pattern for email. Okay, so you see again example email. In email if I type anything, I click on submit, it gives me, it should have @ it should have dot. Okay, and if I type @ and I type proper email, it doesn't give me an error. It is accepting. You're not able to see the screen. Now are you able to see the screen? Now, okay, you see the country code. Again I repeat, in country code I have given a pattern. I'll show you the code for this. You see, input type equal text, name equal country code, pattern I have written something like this. That means it should accept only what? Only 3 characters. The meaning of this is it should accept only 3 characters. You see, I am typing over here. If I type 4 characters or more than 4, I click on submit, it gives me error. There should be only 3 characters. And when I type only 3 characters and I click on submit, it is accepting. Okay, no error. You see, email, if I just type anything, I click on submit, it gives me an error. If I type proper email, it won't give me an error. It is accepting. Okay, how I could do that? With the help of pattern. When I type input type equal text, I need to specify the pattern. Input type equal password. Here I have given pattern for a password. It should be more than 6 characters. Similarly for email, input type equal email, I have given a pattern. Over there you are supposed to type the proper email ID. Got it, all of you? Let us now go back to slide. We are back onto the slide. Okay. Other attributes. Read only. Read only, students, is similar to disable. Okay. Disable attribute over here. You see, specifies an input field should be disabled, and read only specifies that input field is read only. That means cannot be changed. You are not able to type anything into it. Read only is similar to disable. Disable means you are not able to type. Read only also you are not able to type. You can only read what it is. I'll show you the output. You see, without read only attribute, okay, I am able to type. Now with read only attribute, I am not able to type. See, I am typing, I am clicking but not able to type. Okay, I'll show you the code for this. Code for this is what you are able to see on screen. See, input type equal email. I have not written read only. This is without read only. So first text box I am able to type. Second text box, read only, I am not able to type. Because there is a read only attribute. When I have a read only attribute, then into that particular text box I am not able to type. And when read only attribute is not there, I am able to type. Is it okay, students? Have you understood this much? Let's go back to the slide. Okay, we are back onto the slide. Okay, next, placeholder. Placeholder acts as a temporary label showing the purpose of a text field without requiring a label tag. That means you will see a text box and some text written into it. You will see some text XYZ PQ or something written into it, and as soon as I click onto the text box, that will go. That written part will go. Okay, again I explain you, there will be a text box and some text will be written onto it. A, B, C, like something like it. So something will be written onto it, and as soon as I click onto a text box, that written part will go. That is called placeholder. This acts as a temporary label showing the purpose of a text field without requiring a label tag. Let us see the output. Let us see the output, all of you. You see, okay, a text box. There's a text box without a placeholder attribute. You see, nothing is written onto it in a text box. Whereas here, there is a text box. You will see something is written into that text box. I'll make a screen big. You see, there are two text boxes. In this, nothing is written. In this, written. Okay, in this text box, if I click, nothing happens. If I click onto this whatever is already written, that goes. Okay, see, as soon as I type, it goes. If it is blank, that text appears. If I type something, that thing goes. Okay, that's called placeholder. Whatever is written already in a text box, that is said to be a placeholder. If you want something has to be written in a text box, then we do it with the help of placeholder. Code for placeholder is something like this. You see, input type equals email, and I have written placeholder. I have written placeholder. Placeholder equals some text. Placeholder equals some text. Okay, this shows you some text in a text box. Next, back to the slides, all of you. Required attribute specifies that an input field is required, must be filled out. Specifies that an input field is required. That means you cannot keep it blank. You have to type something into that field. You have to type something into that field. How do we do that? Okay, I'll show you an example. see, this is without required attribute, and another text box I have two text boxes. First text box without required and second text box with required attribute. Okay, if I don't type anything in both the text boxes, I click on submit, I get an error onto a second text box. You see, I click on submit, see, I get an error. Please fill out this field. I'm not getting error into first text box. Why? Because I have kept it blank. If I type something and I click on submit, okay, if I type something and I click on submit, it won't give me an error. See, there is no error. It has accepted. It has accepted. Okay, and if whether I type in a first text box or I don't type, it doesn't matter. But the place where I have written required attribute, in that text box you have to type. Okay, let's go back. I'll show you the code before going to the slides. Okay, code is something like this. See, input type equals email and required. You see, I have written required over here. Okay, means into this text box you are required to type. You see, there are many websites which shows the asterisk mark, red asterisk mark, means that field that is required, compulsory to be typed. So if you want the user to compulsorily to type something into a text box, then we use the required attribute. Then we make a use of required attribute. Let's go back to the slides. Autocomplete specifies whether a form or input field should have autocomplete on or off. Basically, students, autocomplete is a feature of browser. Okay, browser, that is Google Chrome or Internet Explorer. There is an option. If you type some few characters, automatically the characters appear. Okay, that is autocomplete, auto-completion of the text box. So if you want a particular text box, it should, irrespective of the browser setting, you want to on or off, then you can specify autocomplete to a text box. Okay, I'll show you the code for this, students. Pay attention. You see, without autocomplete, I just type, this is off. Okay, now here I type which was the previous one. Let us say A. You see B, C. You see down, it appears automatic completion. Okay, and here I don't have autocomplete. You see. Whereas here, previously what was typed, I get that. This is called autocomplete. I'll show you the code. You see, this is an email, autocomplete off, whereas here, email with autocomplete on. Going back to the slides. Next attribute, autofocus, height and width and multiple. Autofocus specifies that input field should automatically get focus when the page loads. Specifies that an input field should automatically get focus. Focus means you get a cursor onto it. Cursor means if you want the third text box in a form, there may be 5 text box, and you want the when form starts onto a third text box, there should be cursor. That means when users start typing, it should be typed from the third text box. Then we make it as an autofocus in a form out of 10 elements, out of 10 text boxes, any one text box can be given as autofocus. Specifies that input field should automatically get focus when page loads. Make a note, out of 10 or 15, how many number of text boxes you have, out of that only one text box you can give autofocus. I'll show you an example. You will notice a cursor, you will see a blinking part. I have not clicked, students. Okay, you see over here, there's a cursor. That means this text box has a focus. When I click onto first text box, you see cursor appears here, that blinking. You see the blinking line, blinking straight line, standing line. That is called a focus. So currently focus is onto this text box, first text box, and if I type, I will be typing onto the first text box. When I click over here, yes, now it is visible. Okay, you see this cursor mark, this blinking line, standing cursor line. This standing cursor line means that particular text box has a focus. I click onto a second text box, you see now the cursor appears into a second text box. That means standing blinking line appears onto the second text box. Okay, that means that second text box is now at a focus. That means when I type, it will be typed onto the second text box. So I want that automatically when page loads, a particular text box should have a focus. Here, now when I have started this page, my focus was onto a second text box. Why? Because I have written a code. You will be able to see the code, all of you over here. Second text box, this is my first text box where there is no autofocus, and into a second text box I have written autofocus. That means focus, a cursor, a blinking straight line appears onto this text box automatically. You can change, but when the page starts, first focus should be onto this text box. That is the meaning of autofocus. Let us go back to the slides. Height and width specifies the height and width of input type equals image. We have learned input type equals image. Okay, so image button you want to display as an submit button, then we write input type equal image. For that image, irrespective of whatever is an height and width of an image, you can specify it with the height and width. Okay, I'll show you the code for this. You see a submit button with different height and width. This is normal submit button. This is submit button with image. This is submit button with an image. Okay, and with different height and width. This is one and this is one. Code for this I'll show you. You see, input type equals submit. This is a normal submit button. Then input type equals image, and to this image I have to specify which image, and I also have to specify height and width. You see, height and width, 50 pixels height and 50 pixels width. Whereas second input type equal image, I have written height as 80 and 80, so that you come to know the difference between the height small and big. So here height and width is 50, and onto a second I have written height and width equals 80. That is why you are able to see the buttons into different sizes. This is only you can do if image type is equals image. Going back to the slides. Multiple specifies that the user is allowed to enter more than one value in input element. Okay, this works only with email and file. It works only with what? It works only with email and file, more than one value. Okay, I will be able to upload more than one file. I will be able to type more than one email address with comma. I'll be able to type more than one email address with comma. I'll be able to upload more than one file. That is the meaning of multiple. I'll show you the code, all of you. Okay, you see, without multiple attribute and with multiple attribute, email. You see, I type an email, comma, @ something. Okay. If I write comma and another email ID, this will give me an error. See, I am submitting it. See, here it is given error. I am not able to type two email IDs. Whereas same thing, okay, I type over here, I have typed two email IDs. It will not give me an error. No error. See, it doesn't give me an error. Similarly, file to upload. See, over here, without multiple attribute, if I click on choose file, sorry. See, I select one file. Student, I have selected one file. I am pressing Control to select another file, but I am not able to select both the files. See, if I click over here, this is selected. If I click on over here, this is selected. So either of one file I am able to select. Okay, and only one file I am able to upload. Now see over here, choose file with multiple attribute. I have selected first. I have also selected second. Open. See, two files. So that is with multiple attribute. I am able to upload more than one file. I am able to type more than one email ID. That is the use of multiple attribute. Use of multiple attribute. For that, what code we have written? Let us see. Have a look at the code. You see, input type equal file and multiple attribute. Input type equal email with multiple attribute. So if you are typing multiple attribute, then more than one values you are able to type or select. Going back to the slides. Okay. Now the attributes are over. Okay. ID and classes are related to CSS. Are related to CSS. CSS is a big topic, students. When I explain you that CSS topic, at that time I'll explain you what is ID and what is class. So right now I'm not explaining you what is ID and class. When I teach you CSS, at that time I'll be explaining you what is ID and what is class. Okay, now here it is an example of a form. This example is given into your textbook. Okay, input type equal text, autocomplete, input type equal email, then input type equal date, input type equal time. This is an example given. Okay, input type equal number, all in one. Here see minimum and maximum. Then here I have used pattern. Okay, then here I have used URL. Then here I have used input type equal submit. So whatever we have learned, whatever attributes and different components what we have learned, the example for this is given over here. Okay, I'll show you the output of this. What is an output for this? Okay, output is something like this, what you see on your screen. Okay, I'll also show you an output onto an Internet Explorer. Please let us have a look at a browser. In a browser, how does it look like? Okay, here, this is how the output is seen into a browser. You see there is a name, email. This is a form, a proper form example I have given. Name, email, then date, then time. Okay, then now numerical data, number of days completed, then office phone number, there's some pattern, then URL, and then image button. So proper form example along with the attributes and different form components over here. Code for this is something like this. You see, input type equal text, autocomplete, here email, then here date, input type equal time, then here a number with min and max, then this is a telephone with pattern. Okay, all in one. So the questions to design a form, to write an HTML to design a form to do this. Okay, such type of questions you can expect in your board exams. Going back to the slides. Okay. Okay. Students, take these questions, do it yourself. Write an HTML program that uses multiple attribute in input, and again write an HTML program that uses pattern attribute in input. Write this, all of you. Write this question, take a screenshot of these questions. Okay, students, that's all about forms. That's all about forms. Next, in our next session, we will be understanding what is meta tag. What is meta tag? Okay, that's all for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.